Welcome in, everybody. Melanie Newman, Jim Palmer with you once more. Have you caught your breath? I know you were asking Adley, but this was a lot.
Pretty exciting game. It had a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Well, Adley Rutschman, I think you would have liked to have him as a battery mate at some point, because this kid has been racking up history today. He obviously couldn't take time to take it in while he was out on the field, but the list grows long. I ran out of characters on social media to add up everything, but how do you take away his performance?
Well, he was the #1 draft choice, in 2019, and it's kind of interesting when you talk about guys, talk about his ability to work the count. It's 2-0. He ends up hitting a home run. Corey Kluber doesn't throw a lot of home runs, doesn't walk a lot of people. That wasn't the occasion today, but he didn't want to walk him, so he does that. And then, of course, if you throw him away, he hits the ball the other way. Good contact. Probably a better, at least last year, better hitter from this side of the plate. Uses the whole field. So he just kind of showed you what he can do. Now, his catching ERA went up today because the Orioles went 10-9, but overall, he's as good as advertised. And again, when you're trying to rebuild, and that's what the Orioles have been doing since Mike Elias is here, you're always talking. You saw it down in Houston, when they got Correa and then they got Bregman, and they made some deals. This is what Adley Rutschman's all about, as far as I'm concerned. Catcher's probably, other than maybe a pitcher on occasion, the most important player, and he's as good as anybody. And you saw it today. And
you just mentioned it's a reminder why he was that first overall pick. Do you buy in, though, that he succumbs to a sophomore slump at some point? I know you can't predict the future here, but this is a pretty loud way to start.
No. When you control the strike zone, and he does that as a hitter, when you play as an important position as he does, and you're engaged and you can throw and you can block balls. He had the best block ball ratio of any catcher last year in the major leagues. Even in a short time, had 18 of them. Didn't win the Gold Glove, but it's certainly one of those caliber of a catcher. He's the real deal, and he runs well. I mean, what doesn't he do? I guess we probably should talk about that versus what he does. He's just that good, and he's going to make everybody that plays with him better, as all good and great players do.
Well, and he's a good golfer. I don't know if we want to keep adding to the extracurriculars here for Adley Rutschman.
Can't dance, though. I think I saw him trying to dance. That's the one thing he can't do.
We've found the flaw, ladies and gentlemen. Adley Rutschman cannot dance. Okay, but looking ahead here at the 5th inning, we've talked about the new rule changes. The one that got overlooked the most, the bigger bases. And we watched also how the disengagement rules set up for the Orioles to be on the move. Big 5th inning, though.
Well, we can always talk about in a 10-9 game that you'd never have enough runs at Fenway Park, and that was the case today. So when you have speed, take advantage of it. The bases are bigger. It's what, 4.5 feet or inches closer from first to second. The Orioles last year had the two guys with Mullins and Mateo that led the American League in stolen bases. So take advantage of it. You're not going to run yourself out of innings because they're too good at base runners, and then you're able to play small ball. So again, I mean, how'd you get to 10 runs? You stole bases. You did hit some home runs. You got some clutch hits. I think they were 5 for 14 with runners in scoring position. So they hit a lot better than they did last year. They were about a 250 hitter team with the runners in scoring position. And again, you give up 9 runs, but you score 10, and you end up eking out a 1-run lead or 1-1 win in Fenway Park on a very cold day.
A very, very cold day. We've been bundled up here in the booth, luckily. Do you factor in, is it the cold or the jitters? A lot of these guys have already played at Fenway Park before, but we know opening day is different. It's an extra energy. We saw Santander kind of run out when he should have run in on a ball. You had the error in the 9th inning. Bautista, who's usually unshakable. What do you chalk up some of this to? How do the O's move on from that?
Well, they move on because they have an off day, and it's supposed to rain on Saturday. But no, it's funny. Bright day, difficult day. Wind was blowing. Glary, totally different than spring training. But they won. I mean, it's funny. Last year they were 7-14 the first month. They were 14-16. They didn't have their first winning month since 2017, all the way back to then, and I think in August. So, again, this is a team that they want to win these type of games. Never easy to come to Fenway Park. It's never easy to beat Corey Kluber. You know, he usually doesn't walk anybody today, and you know, he was a total departure from that. But it was an ugly game that the Orioles won. Usually, when you don't turn double plays like they did in the ninth inning, you don't win the ball game. But they were fortunate enough to win it, and it was Adley Rutschman Day.
I will add, by the way, that unfortunately for Corey Kluber, the Orioles make it now 6 opening day starts that Kluber has been incapable of winning for any team that he's been with. Of course, all the rest were for Cleveland. But when you look ahead, you just mentioned maybe some rain on Saturday here. Do the jitters stay with you through that whole opening day weekend, or is it kind of the first day, and do you rember just kind of moving on after that?
Oh, no.
You're in and you're ready.
You want to get off to a good start. The Orioles were able to do that, and you know, Dean Kramer, was talking to him today. He said he's ready to pitch. Had a very good spring training, pitched well in the World Baseball Classic for Israel. And he was arguably one of the better pitchers for the Orioles last year. So you kind of get yourself going. And, you know, I think we saw a little bit of a glimpse of the future today with the speed, the home run, the fact that usually the Orioles play a little bit better defensively, but it's nice game to win.
Favorite opening day, right, was today?
Favorite?
Yeah, for you.
No.
Okay. We're going to say that it's your favorite.
No, but it was my favorite one of 2023.